guys. Hey you. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining in. Hi Samuel, Henry, Simply Dorcas, Talk to AK. Hey Ben, our guest is here for tonight. Hello. Official Miles G. Wow. How you guys doing? So we're talking today about rape and safeguarding the girl child, and I'm going to be having a guest to share with me tonight. We're going to really talk about the issue from different angles. We're going to ask him questions as a young man, as an entertainer, what his take is on the different issues that's to do with rape and protecting the girl child. Yeah, so we're in for a ride. I'm waiting for him to request to get into the video so we can do a thing. Alright, that request has come. Let's go. Hello.
Hey, hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing amazing. And you?
I'm good. I'm trying to set up this thing. Hold on, just hold on.
Okay, no problem. So our guest is here already. It's right on time. Hello, Beatrice. Habu. Okay. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone joining in.
So,
The comments are funny, really. Hi. Have you set it up now?
BeeCee, pleasure to have
What's
you.
up? Yeah.
And thanks for
Pleasure
having
to
me.
have you. No problem. No problem. No
I've
problem.
been dealing
So
with a
how you
lot
doing?
today. I'm good. I've been dealing with
Oh,
the most today. Apparently, I have scam pages of me who
sorry. So sorry. A call came in.
no
And
problem.
that's supposed to stop. So you were telling me that so how did you get wind of the pages, the fake pages out there?
I've been getting a lot of messages, emails,
Okay.
people from France, from francophone countries. I got a lot of notifications from people, and it got very disturbing. So I decided to go
Wow.
on Facebook and
Check
check
it out.
Ben Lugo Twitter, and I saw like
You multiplied yourself.
it's incredible. And the funny thing is that these scammers are not so smart, because I can actually trace them with the URL of
Okay.
the account. I can trace their actual
Oh,
names. They don't know.
oh, I need to learn how
So
to do that.
so I'm trying to see how I can block everything off because it's
Okay.
embarrassing, you know.
Yeah, it
Those
is.
who are smart will know that it's impossible for
Mm.
someone like me to be asking for
Yes.
investments. If I'm going to do that, I'll do it
Yes.
like, you
Doubling
know,
money and all that.
yeah.
I
But you
get
know,
it.
sometimes fans become delusional when they are so crazy about a particular artist. So they would believe anything that they see online because somehow it's a desire or a wish to fulfill that they're
Yeah.
in contact with this person. But yeah,
I get it.
so
Wow. So sorry about that. I hope
no
you
problem.
resolve it. So back
Oh
to
no,
the
it's fine.
topic for
It's fine.
tonight.
I mean, we're in Nigeria. It's part of those things. It's
It
normal.
happens. Yeah, it
It's
is.
exactly. It's normal.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
and
oh,
how are
that's
you doing?
good.
You're looking good.
Oh, I'm home with the kids and everybody. I'm trying. What can I
Awesome.
do? Yeah, what can
Awesome.
I do?
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's get back on the topic for tonight.
Hmm.
We're actually going to be so hello guys. This is Ben Nanye Lugo
Yeah.
Tutu, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
an
exactly.
actor, he's a filmmaker, he's an entrepreneur, and I brought him on board because I need a lot. I need men to start speaking up about rape.
Mm.
Over the years, we've had just women trying to protect themselves, talking about rape, talking about the girl child. You know, we've had NGOs. I've never really seen an NGO run by a man that's championing this cause, so to speak.
Mm.
So it's more women trying to protect themselves against a world that, you know, they are seen as less somehow. I may be wrong, but that's what it seems with everything that's happening. So I wanted to get men, a lot of men, into this conversation because the young ones out there are looking up to you guys, people in the entertainment, people in the CEOs in organizations, the general overseers of churches and all of that. A lot of young men are looking up to you. They see you as role models. And if you can start talking about this to let them know it's not okay to rape, it will go a long way. So I'm sure you were aware of the case of Uwa on social media. It was quite trending. The
Hmm.
girl who went to church to read and she was raped and then she died after a few days. And there's another girl that died that was raped in Jigawa by about 12 men. When you heard those stories, what came to your mind? How did you feel about it?
You know, I it's the first thing that came to my mind was what kind of background did this man have growing up? What kind
Mm,
of orientation? What kind of family? What kind of mother? What kind of father?
mm,
Because it's so many levels of wrong.
mm,
It's there's a lot of both psychological problems because for a man to be so sexually tuned to a
mm,
woman's pain
mm.
and to force himself while she screams and to get off of that pain and probably climaxes or gets to an orgasm. It's so many levels of psychological problem. It's a masochists, you know, narcissists. It's a very demented personality. So these people actually need some kind of mental psychiatric. Uh, I won't say help, but they need evaluation because
Mm.
it is not natural to hear a woman scream at the top of her lungs in pain and you actually
And
derive
you're
pleasure from it.
excited
It
about
doesn't,
it.
and they're excited about it, and then not just one, but 12. Now, the other one in the church, I personally would tell you that it's someone from that church that did that. Someone from the
Wow.
church
Why
who
do you say
did
so?
that. That is my personal belief. It's a Christian brother or a pastor or someone that knows about this girl that has seen her and has trailed her and has been targeting her because it's, and I feel the first line of defense should be the church leaders and the security personnel. That's
Mm,
my opinion.
yeah,
But
yeah.
honestly, if I start to talk about what I think and the levels of moral decadence and the mental problems that goes with such a behavior, it's beyond sex. Like it doesn't make sense. You know, there's a lot of cultures and religion. I don't want to mention names that
Okay.
believe in suppressing the sexual um,
Urges.
feelings and
Okay.
urges of men and women. So, in the
Okay.
name of their fucked up religion, they believe in so much piety, pretending they cover themselves, they look so holy and everything. But what they are doing is that sex is a natural thing for humans. It's a beautiful thing.
Mm,
It's part of the body. It's part of the flesh. It's an animal thing. Humans are made of two sides. We have a divine and an animal side.
Yeah.
Now, the animal side is made up of our ego, the hunger to have sex, the hunger to eat,
To eat food,
our
yeah.
identity. These are normal. Sex is a very normal thing. The problem now is how you have the sex.
Okay.
I personally will tell people that in order for you to live a healthy life, you need to have a sexual experience with someone. Like you need to have, you need to fall in love, go on a date. That's why a lot of parents will
Yes.
tell their kids, live a normal life, go on a date,
Yeah.
use a
Yeah. I
condom,
agree.
get protected. Because the whole idea of, oh, abstain, 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 fuck that. You can try and abstain, abstain. There's a level you get to, you're going against a nature of yours that is going to haunt you. It's like, let me give you an instance. Some people who claim to be celibate, the moment they finally become active, it's like those times they have been celibate, it's like they want to, I'm sorry to use this word, they want to sleep with every single person.
I know.
It's like there's a, because they have been, they've held on so
Holding back.
long. It's like they want to now fill up all those times that they have been celibate. So it's all about balance. It's not about extreme. There's just so many things. So religion is a major problem too. Religion is a major problem, I think, because we have a lot of hypocritical religions, Christianity inclusive, some Islamic sects inclusive, that deny sex, that makes it look like sex is such a taboo. You can't talk about it, you can't express it. They don't give you a balance to actually express your sexualness. They can't understand it. If you're a girl who is too pretty, you're a sinner. If you're a guy that is too good looking, you're gay. There's always one stupidity here and there. So Christianity has fucked up a big way in, not all, but in some churches have made in such a way that it's such a taboo to talk about it. Oh, sex. You're a guy and you have a morning boner, or you had a wet dream. Oh, my marine spirits are going to attack you.
Yes,
Like,
your
you have all
spiritual wife.
this, you have all these stupid things that come up, and you're like, what? Like, and the sad thing is, most of the time, it is the religious ones who do the damning things. Yes, we know that we have armed robbers who get high, and then when they go to rape, they rape. Yes, we know those are the obvious. But the ones that damns me sometimes, I'm like, are the ones that are sometimes too pious or too, goody two shoes. Like you can't believe that this is a brother or a sister or whatever, that can do this. So religion is one major problem. Sex needs to be out there. Everyone needs to talk about it, express it. The more we demystify sex, the less likely it is to be an exciting event. That's the problem. Because that's why a lot of men and women, when they start to have sex and then they're like, they've gotten to that point where they feel themselves with all the experience of sex. And they're like, is this it? After everything,
so
this is it.
I'm telling you.
That is it. Okay, you finally understand your body, because sex involves the woman and the man understanding their body, so that when they are having sex with someone else, they can know how to move themselves to pleasure themselves, and also teach the other person chemistry. A lot of women and men are so rigid. They are so frigid. They don't understand themselves. So when they have sex, they think it's all about putting it in, and then after a few minutes, 5 minutes, probably they are done, and that's it. So that's not sex. You've just wasted a sister's time or a brother's time. And then some girls are like logs of wood. They feel now. I'm a big proponent of preservation, self-preservation. If you're going to be self-preserved, keep yourself active. Like what I'm saying is, a lot of problems is like Nigeria. Nigeria is such a stressful place to live in. We don't have enough recreational centers where we can
take our minds away.
Yes, and don't forget, sexual energy is energy. It has to be directed to something. If you do not direct your sexual energy and it becomes destructive. It causes depression. It's like, imagine taking a nuclear energy and putting it into a bottle, and you have nothing to do with it. Eventually it's going to implode, and that's the worst kind.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, a lot of things like sports, recreational centers, parks, dog walking, competitions in, sports, exercise. There's a lot of crazy things to do with all that energy. Because
so you need to engage.
You need to engage. But we have all these fucked up religions, churches in every corner who make it look like all you have to do is get your monthly
Just
salary,
pray.
pay your tithe, be a good person, stay at home.
Yeah,
Like that is the
just
dumbest thing.
Wow,
So when I hear people like Daddy Freeze talk and he's angry, I know where he's coming from. And funny enough, people don't even like to hear the truth.
No, they
People don't care about the truth. You tell
They
them this
don't.
is what the Bible says, they don't care. They worship their pastor, they call their pastor God or daddy or my spiritual father. That is the dumbest fuck I've ever heard. I'm going to use the F word a lot because I am angry. If we want to tackle rape, we have to start with the stupid institutions that are there, Islamic and Christian churches, and start to teach the pastors to teach their audience
The
that
right
it is a
thing.
normal thing.
We should
It is
embrace
a
it.
huge,
So-
embrace it. It's a normal
Yeah.
thing. God has never been against sex. He's only against how it's being used.
So Ben, there's something I heard about taboo. You know, why a lot of people get involved in things like taboo, because there's this excitement that comes from doing something that is forbidden, like eating the forbidden fruit. Remember the Garden of Eden when God said, "Auntie, don't eat this fruit," and because it was surrounded with mystery, it sort of attracts you. So what I hear you say is, if we demystify sex, that is natural, it's normal, we should embrace it. We won't have so many people hiding under the covers to do horrible things. Is that what you're trying to say?
Now, I'm so angry because, and yes, someone is saying I'm taking it personal. I am taking it personal because the problem is systematic. Number
Okay.
one of the problems is our mothers, our African mothers, our African fathers, our churches, our institutions. First of all, African mothers need to train the boy child with enough attention as they train the girl child. You need to let the boy child know that you are responsible for your actions. If you take that plate and you eat with it, wash it. If you wake up, clean your room. Let them feel responsible at an early age. Now, I'm digressing. Back to your question. Now, the whole idea of forbidden fruits, you need to understand something about the human mind. The human mind is a very complex thing. And one of the attributes of a human mind is that we are curious. Not everybody is too curious, but there's a level of curiosity everyone has. Everybody. That the moment you keep hiding something, you create a goal in the mind to find it. That's why puzzle is always going to be one of the best-selling games in the world. Puzzles. Everywhere in the world, puzzles, whether it's picture puzzles, or it's puzzles for solving an equation or solving a riddle. Figure it out. It is always going to be a part of the best-selling things ever, because the mind is designed to explore, to discover, to dominate. That is how we are designed.
That is the mind of God as well.
Yes, that is the mind of God. So when you start to hide something and then you cloak it with so much, in quotes, sin, the person becomes, no matter how much they run away, they will always have that question of, what exactly is this? And when they try it the first time, how they tried the first time will determine almost sometimes for the rest of their life how they will keep on having it.
How it's going to end.
That's why I tell a lot of girls, the first guy you have sex with, if you're a virgin, if you want to keep yourself till marriage, fine. Find activities to keep you busy. Find, it's a lot of work. But if you want to have sex with someone before marriage, make sure he's worthy. Make sure he's someone that is worthy. So make sure that it's someone that truly cares, truly loves you, truly is a friend, someone that your insecurities and vulnerabilities are fine. Because the moment you have sex with that one person, if he is toxic, if he treats you like trash, if he makes a mistake of using and abusing you, it will rewire your. It's going to stick and it's going to mess you up for a very long time, except you find a guy that sort of loves you and then heals you
to come out of it.
It's going to mess you up. So so the idea of sex being forbidden talk, forbidden fruit, of course people are going to be curious. Of course. It is normal.
Let me even ask you. I hear people say that most guys were either abused or raped growing up by aunties, house helps, cousins who come in. And because guys don't talk about it, it stays in their mind for a very long time. Could it be one of the reasons that we're having a lot of men who believe that sex can be taken by force?
No. I think that's ridiculous. Because it happened to you does not mean that you should believe in it. Now, you need to understand the psyche of a man and a woman is different. The energies are different. You know, it's like the idea of male and female has constantly been resonated throughout the cosmos. When I mean cosmos, I mean, if you look into science and space and quantum physics, there's always going to be the male and female counterparts of everything. Some planets are described as females, some planets are described as male.
Males,
Now,
okay.
let me give you an instance. Have you heard of the word electromagnetic? It's basically the driving force behind almost everything. Without electromagnetism, we won't have life. Electricity and magnetism are two important things that create constant life and surge. Now, some people define magnetism as male, and I think electricity as female. Now, there's always going to be that male, female, yin yang energy that is there. So the same thing happens in real life. The male psyche and energy is always different from the female, and how sometimes they respond will not always be the same. A lot of guys, when they are sexually abused, and I have a personal note on that, but that will be much later. When they're sexually abused, how it affects them are in different ways, depending on what the abuse was like. If the abuse was done in such a way that she lured him, she gave him sweets or gave him candy or whatever, and then it commanded him to do it and engaged it, and he had sex, what that does to the child, male boy child, very early on is that the child becomes aware of sex too early. And because they become aware of sex too early, some become sexually addicted at a certain time in their lives, sometimes forever. And some even progress from having one sexual addiction to now increasing it to worse things. So maybe you find out how a guy is okay having sex with one girl, the next thing he wants to have a threesome, the next thing he wants to have an orgy, the next thing he wants to probably try a guy. It just, some people go off the rail and they never find themselves. While some people, they become sexually aware, and it creates a problem where every form of stress or high emotional tension, they want to release it through sex. You know how some people, when they're stressed out, they go drink a beer, they go smoke a blunt or a cigarette, they go exercise, they go and sleep, they go and read. It becomes sexual. Everything. When you're excited and happy about things, you want to have sex.
You want to.
When you are not happy and you're depressed, you want to have sex. It's almost like sex gets you off of your emotional problem, which is not the best, because the truth is that relying on something so much like that becomes an addiction, and every form of addiction is bad. So for the male, it messes them up. That's why I find a lot of guys very early on, they start seeing women as sex objects. They might not be rapists, but they now see every woman as an object of sex. Oh my God, just how he's going to stick it in and how he's going to feel. That is all. He doesn't care about her personality. If she's a beautiful girl with a brain, what she likes, what she doesn't like, what makes her happy, what's her fear. See this person as an actual human being. A lot of these guys don't see that. It takes sometimes years of reformation. Some of them start to sit down to say, okay, I have a problem. And sometimes it takes one act of love. Maybe they fall in love with one girl and then their life change. Exactly. Now for women, it's a whole different ballgame, because the feminine psyche is very fragile. And one thing that goes with a lot of women, because of their fragility, it goes hand in hand with bitterness and scorn and revenge. A lot of women become very vengeful.
Resentment.
The resentment, and you find that a lot of women, they also go off the rails. They have so many sexual partners, they feel worthless, they don't feel happy, they don't feel worthy of love, and then they sleep with all kinds of guys, and then they take all kinds of hard drugs in order to feel certain way, and they are always looking for someone to make them feel good, not knowing that not knowing that that feeling is a deception. It's not about the feeling. You have to know in yourself you are worthy and treat yourself that way. And people don't know that how you send the message to the world is how they will address you. If you set a standard for yourself this way, this is what I am, this is how I will be treated, men will treat you that way. A lot of women don't know that. They think by being too nice, too kind, too open, that they're going to get love. It doesn't work that way. So, you know, the male and the female psyche and how they're affected is different. So I don't believe that because a guy was molested as a child, so he believes that, you know, it has to, no, it's all shades of not exactly logical, because there's a lot involved. His mom, his family, if he had sisters, if he had cousins, there's so many things involved.
Yeah. So over the years, we've blamed the victims of rape, so to speak. They'll say, what did you wear? Did you go to his house? Did you tell him yes at some point and then said no later? Did you You know, but we've seen that some of these, in fact, somebody actually chatted me and said that all these celebrities who go on their pages, you know, dancing almost naked, are the causes of rape. That is transferring the responsibility to other people and not addressing the fact that the people they are even raping are not those ones who are dancing naked on social media. They are raping innocent girls out there who have no business being naked. They rape people on diaper. So how do we start as a society to change the mentality that the victim is not to blame in this case?
See, BeeCee, the problem is on so many levels. It's systematic. It's on so many levels. It's on so many levels. Number one, I mentioned religion. Number two, I mentioned family, the mothers and the fathers. Number three, men, please learn to speak to good women. Learn know how to toast a woman. Learn to be
right.
Yeah, learn to be comfortable with women. Like that's why I tell people, do not take your child to a one-sex school. That is the dumbest thing you can do in the 21st century, because you are taking away from that child their ability to socially grow. There's a social intelligence. You know how you have emotional, mental, psychological. There is social intelligence. The ability of a boy to be confident and speak to a lady is very vital, and it's a time in a period in their age, especially when they're teenagers, that if they don't get for a long time will be a major flaw of their character. So it all goes back to this nonsense of culture. We have stupidity in our cultures. The Igbos, the Hausas, the Yoruba, there's a lot of stupidity in the cultures. I'm Igbo, so I can speak comfortably about the Igbos and not get judged. There's a lot of stupidity. The Igbos are even better self, because they tend to have this expression of love very early on. They like men, women things. They like to, you know, Igbos can write love letters for their women and they can spend money. Let me just leave that. But what about the other tribes that make it look like I'm a man, you're a woman, so this is the way I must be treated?
I'm superior, you are inferior.
Superior. So the ability to dialogue, it's either on and off. And a woman is not on and off. A woman is like, she's not like a toaster you press and then pump. The whole thing is hot. You know, the women's psyche is very complex. A lot of guys don't get to the point of finally understanding and appreciating this person called a woman. Women are one of the most beautiful complexities that life has thrown at us, that the more we appreciate them, the more we can be able to understand that there are different angles to things. Because how women think is not always going to be, you know, favorable to the man. But I tell you that a woman's way solves the problems a lot of times. I'm in a relationship right now, and I tell you that I tend to listen to her a lot because she's very intuitive. Women work with an intuition that is way different from men. Men are A, B, C, D. They have to go to one step before they see the next. A woman sort of is her mind works in varied ways, that sometimes when she speaks, she's speaking from a place that she doesn't understand, but a lot of times they are right. So men don't come to that point of understanding these things. They don't. So
how great a woman is. Wow.
You know, this is not a feminist session. It's not about.
I know.
but they don't come to the point of understanding. You know how guys say there's a guy code, a bro code. Oh yeah, there's a way we relate. You know, guys have not come to the point where they can say, yeah, this is like this. Most of the time, what African men, the most I think I've seen African men chant a lot. Now, woman, forget she go, when you talk finish, just do this. She go, they okay. You know, that's it. That is one way. That is one hack. But that is like basically 1% out of 100% of a woman. You know. So when you have a guy who is not comfortable with a woman, doesn't know how to speak, doesn't understand how to express himself sexually, how is he going to be able to control himself when he sees a flicker of body parts? Of course, he's going to be stupid and try and do something. So when people say it's the way she dresses and all that, no, it's the guy himself having the poorest of orientation. It's his parents, it's his church, it's his mosque, it's his kindred, his culture. It's a long line of problems that goes down and boils down to one thing. So for us to solve the problem, let me give you an instance now. I'm a guy, I have a lot of testosterone. let's say 17, 18, I'm at my peak. My libido is high. Every girl I see is like a walking, talking dinner turkey. I want to eat this person. Yes, but there are a lot of things I can also do. I can decide to burn that energy by working out, going to the gym. I can join karate class. I can play football, or I can have a girlfriend. Or well, you can go and have a masturbation session with your hands and soap, whatever it is. But do not explore your sexuality with a woman forcefully, thinking that will get you off. Because the truth is, by destroying one female, you haven't destroyed a person. You've destroyed a family. She's going to be a mother.
Yes, you have.
And you're transferring generational traumas down to her DNA, into her genes. That's probably going to be passed down to her daughters, and then to her sons. And you don't know what havoc that could be, that could wreak on her and her husband in future. I've met a lot of girls who are emotionally unstable, who cannot even. They are so angry. They are so volatile. You say something, you're like, what is going on?
Wait a minute.
If you trace a lot of these girls, you find out that they have traumas upon traumas, and they have been one way or the other in wrong company. Either they've done so many crazy things, and it has damaged their self-worth. It has damaged their ability to calm down and be confident in their ability to be patient and to respond in things. So the idea of men solving this rape thing, by the way, goes both ways. Some women rape too, not in the large numbers as men. And sometimes they can be very kind in the sense, not sometimes, I've heard of cases where a guy goes to a hostel and a gang of girls pin him down and raped him consistently.
Yeah.
I've heard that. But those are rare cases. Those are very rare cases. And even those rare cases, it's still the same problem of making sex so mystified, suppressing the sexual energy, not talking about it, their culture, their religion, their family, making it look like sex is like, it's the same thing affecting the men that is affecting the women. But the only difference is that the women are the fragile gender. The men have a responsibility to be.
End?
It's both ways, but they are the fragile gender, meaning that men are more like physically, we're stronger, right? Even though women have better endurance than men and better pain threshold than men, but physically we're stronger. And it is the way I was raised. I've always been taught that because I am stronger, whoever I'm stronger than can never be my enemy. It doesn't matter how much they throw bullets or shots at me. The moment I can perceive you as weak, I cannot bother with you. It's like an elephant having a quarrel with a rat. They cannot. One stomp of my feet, you're gone. So why bother? The real problem is when I meet another elephant. Now, men cannot exercise their manly power on a weaker gender and feel like a man, because that's stupidity. You can't show that you're a man to a woman by forcing and getting your way. That doesn't make you a man. That is what they call small dick problem. That is a small dick complex. That is you trying to do the bare minimum of trying to prove that you're a man with so much desperation. It's ridiculous.
Someone just said this talk is healing her wound already. I'm reading the comments.
Now, so I was lucky. I grew up in a family that was very diverse. My father was Jewish, Israeli. My mom is Ugboh. She's a lecturer, professor. So I had this diverse, and then traveling, meeting different people, growing from different sides, being able to see different. So I was able to be aware of the idea of men, women, how to talk to a woman, how to approach a woman, how to even down to how you even touch a woman, how you kiss a woman, how you appreciate a woman is. Even though not all women will notice that, they will see, because some women, whether you like it or not, they will always be, they're always going to be blind because of their orientation. They have a certain way they see things. Some girls like a certain type of things. That is their orientation. So not every good man will be noticed. Sometimes these women get a bit too old before they realize,
I've just lost that guy and he was so good.
Or the checklist of what they have as definition of a good guy has been wrong all along. So sometimes, it takes a while. So it takes reorientation on the male, on the female, the both of them being taught at the same time. This is who you are. This is your duty as a man. This is why you must protect the woman. A lot of guys don't have that. All they are taught is, hey, you're a man. Oh, don't worry, he's a man. No, listen. I've heard a lot of women. I've heard a lot of women, mothers say this. Oh, don't worry, he's a man, he will find his way. But she's a girl. If she gets
We
pregnant
need
now,
to
that is
train
the
her.
end. That is the end of the world. If she gets pregnant now, her life has end. People will make ridicule of her. Oh, he's a man. Don't worry. If he can get pregnant, he can find his way. We constantly say that to the man. So he grows up with this sense of stupid entitlement that makes him dumber instead of smarter. People don't know that adversity and pressure sharpens your skills of analytical thinking, critical thinking, your ability to survive. That's why survival of the fittest is not a thing of strength. It takes a lot more. It's your mind. So when you make a man have this delusion of grandeur that he can do anything and he can get away with anything, what do you expect? A lot of them become stupid because...
Quickly, Ben, is it tied to patriarchy? Because a lot of, in this society where the men are seen as superior to the women, you see a lot of entitlement. You see a lot of men believe that women are to be purchased or possessed as property. And this reflects on how they treat the wives, the girlfriends. We pay so much to get you, and so you become property. And even those who are not in the same level or are not married to you still see you as, the fact that you're a woman means if somebody hasn't taken you, I can overpower you and nobody can speak for you.
Now, that is your culture here in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say. That is the culture of I don't know, I don't know about the Ugboh tribe right now, but let me just say that's the culture, that's the Nigerian culture, where women are seen as property. Let me tell you where I come from and how women are seen. I'm talking about Israelis and the Jews. And a lot of the Western world. Now, first of all, when you go to a typical Jewish person, they will tell you that the man and the woman are equal.
Really?
The only thing that separates them is their role and their primal duties as opposite sexes. Like the women are the ones that nurture because she has the womb. So you give her the seed and she gives you a child. The men are seen as the providers because they have the seed and they give. Now, mind you, every male has a female counterpart in them. Every female has a male counterpart in them. So a man is not 100% testosterone and masculine. No, that is stupid. If there's any guy such like that, no person, like he won't be able to function in society. Otherwise, he won't be able to feel, how to be creative, how to think. Both sexes have the other part of them in little bits. Now, the male and the female are equal. The only thing that separates them are their gender and their roles in society. And
but that's not what the Bible says. That is what the Bible says.
No, that is what the Bible says. But your New Testament decided to make a lot of changes with that. And I have a lot of objectivities about it.
Okay, let's not go to religion here. But even in the Old Testament,
let's not go to religion. But I'll tell you the thing. No man is above a woman. And no woman is above a man. The only thing that makes the other person above the other is in their duties, in their role, which is the man has a duty to play, the woman has a duty to play in society, in the family. That is where it is. Let me give you an instance. A man cannot come to a woman and tell the mother of her children, how the children are and how they behave and who is better and who. You cannot, a mother who is a mother that has her eyes on her children, a man cannot come. She's above the man when it comes to that. If a wife is happy, the family is happy. The same way a wife cannot go to a man and say, this is how this job should be done because I am a woman and I feel that this is the way it should be done. Let's say he's an engineer or he does something that is very technical and this is his department and she comes to encroach on it. The point is that we're all different. You cannot go to a woman and tell a woman,
roles
please.
Are different.
Yes, please, can you impregnate the other woman for me? I'm too tired. A man cannot go to another man and say, please, can you give birth to this child for me? I'm sorry, my wife is tired. Everyone has their rules. No man, no woman. That is why if you go to Israel today, the men and the women, both of them are put in the army. You know how you have your NYSC for 1 year? They have theirs for 2 years. Every woman must know how to shoot a gun, how to fight, how to defend herself. So the men respect the women, so much so because if she has a child, that child is hers. If there's any time there's a problem, there's a divorce.
That's the tradition there. Okay.
That is the family. No, that is not the tradition. that is what they are taught. That is the Jewish. That is the. You see all this nonsense they say Old Testament or Old Testament is
Yes,
Old
so I'm
Testament.
wondering, it's contradicting what you're saying here.
It's only Christians that say that because it's a propaganda to try and shoot down one religion in order to make themselves look better. So that's where you find all this nonsense. It's all politics. But a man and a woman are equal before God. If a man or a woman was lesser than the other, it will be clearly stated. He did not tell Adam, go to the world and dominate. He said, you, male and female, both of you. To the point that Eve, in her mistake, affected the actions of the world. Like, the point is, well, they say it was Eve's fault, whatever, I don't care. But in eating the fruit and giving it to Adam, Eve was not blamed alone. They were blamed as a unit.
Together, yeah.
And when one person does something wrong, it falls on the entire family. It is one. And if you look at society, every single society, look at Germany, look at Israel, look at every country in the world that has given women the ability to thrive in business, in culture, in economics, in social life, geopolitics. The countries are always doing well.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the countries are always. It's like it's people don't understand that the female population in a country and the male population in a country are both forces that act like the male, like the left and the right side of the brain. Your right side of your brain and your left side of your brain do two different things. One is for creativity. The other one is for logic. If you destroy the other one and you're 100% logical, you will fail because not everything is logic. How do you dream and hope? And if you decide to kill logic, how do you imagine? If you decide to kill logic and you go with creativity, how do you intend to function in communication and you just be imagining the worst without logic? Everything has to be grounded to some reality. The same thing with the society, men and women in the society. The moment you empower the both of them, you will see the society wake up and thrive. That is how a society should be. So Nigerians, we're still talking about our problems and everything. Put more. I know that, yes, not all women have always shown great examples. You know, we have the Desiani type that have squandered the monies and created a bad image. But we also have the Dora Akunyele type who created a great example in society, changed NAFDAC. She did great things. You have the one who cured the, who rescued the Ebola patient, like she gave up her life. I can't remember her name again. The doctor that gave her life during the Ebola crisis. If it wasn't for her, I don't know what would have happened to Nigeria. Now, and even in this black movement going in America, the black women are the ones in the forefront.
Yeah.
They're the ones marching boldly. See, there's a power in women that the moment men stop being afraid and embrace it and respect it and learn how to harness it and work with it, great things will happen. So the idea of rape is just a sign of the level of psyche we are in the society, that men have still not understood their power as men. They have lost it. Because no man who truly is a man will force himself on a woman. That is a small dick problem. That is disgusting. That is like imagine a 6 feet tall giant going to a baby to grab their candies and saying, I'll beat you, get out. Why would you want to beat a child? Go and beat someone that is your size. Then we can know if you're strong. That is when you talk about power. So when men rape, now don't get me wrong, there have been cases of women who tease men too. I've heard of girls.
That's a different issue.
That's a whole different issue. Who would tell you, you know, I said no does not mean I wanted you to push harder.
Yes, my no is yes. That's a whole different. We're not going to talk about that on.
Let's not talk about
day.
that one.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my take for. Yeah.
Your take is really deep. So you've gone to several areas, you know, handling this issue. But I want to ask you: do you think that the society is protecting the girl child enough? And what are some of the things you think we can start doing now to protect girl children? So let me give you two instances. We have cases where a rape occurs and then the family is probably they are trying to take the matter to the police and take the matter to court. And then they're trying to take it out because the family has settled them. So they're now, okay, don't worry, we have forgotten about it, we are forgiven. Not taking cognizance of the fact that this child that was raped could go through trauma for the rest of her life. So how best do you think the society can begin to start protecting the girl child?
Two things. Empower the women, educate the men. That's it. And now the word empower is broad. I just summarize it. And the word educate is broad. Empower the women, meaning give the women their voice to speak and to be respected. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of women will abuse this. They will get back to their ex. They will get back to one guy they didn't like.
They've started already on social media.
They've already
It's not the
started
same.
already.
Yeah.
They will get that. That is where that's where you now have institutions set in place to make sure that the investigations and proof. Now, don't get me wrong, not every girl or a woman who has a voice that speaks about something that really happens will always get justice. But do you know what that would do? Over time, when they see that the woman has a voice, fear will come in with the men. They will come in with these people, because that way they will understand. And now, empowering does not only mean just voice. It also means giving women the right to weapon, to bear arms, to have pepper sprays,
to protect themselves.
I personally, if I'm ever going to have an NGO, one of the things I will do is to make sure that tasers and pepper sprays and small pen knives are completely free. I know there's a lot of women who are psychologically disturbed. They can go and cut a guy's dick someday.
They'll kill somebody.
I know. But we're talking about, on a large scale, more than 50% of women who are victims are not that psychologically crazy. So I'm for those ones. And a lot of these girls will need some kind of psychological evaluation, of course, to be sure that they can handle these things. But if you empower the woman and you tell her you matter, like, I'm not talking about the rubbish that goes on. You know how you have audio money, I'm giving you 1 billion, or audio empowerment. No, I'm talking about real institutions tied to the government, that if there's a case and you have proof that this happened, whether it's his semen, he raped you, and you smartly just swipe, you took a swab and you store his semen and say, this is this person that raped me. I'm telling you that it will do the world, Nigeria in this case, a great good, because that way women can stand up and say, do not try me, do not mess with me. Do you know the only ones that, do you know the women that have voices in Nigeria, the ones who are privileged? When I mean privileged, probably comes from a powerful family, probably has some strong brand, she's recognized in the world in Nigeria, maybe she's an actress or a politician. But what about the street child? What about the ones in the church who went to read? What about those ones? How the fuck are they protecting themselves? So educate the men, empower the women, empower them with the authorities that will respect them. The problem with Nigeria is that our culture is so fucking steeped on the idea that women are only good for having children, cooking food, having sex, and that's it. So the more women are empowered, and this is my opinion to all the women reading this, empower yourselves. No man will empower you. And what I mean by that is get the best education. I don't mean go to the best schools. Best education means be hungry, learn, understand who you are, understand what you want to do, start a business, be financially stable. It might not be easy in Nigeria, but do something. Don't just stay one place. Have your own shit running. Don't put yourself in a condition where being in a relationship you cannot pull out because you're financially depending on him or emotionally depending on him. Even though I know the woman's psyche is designed to be emotionally connected to someone, do not put yourself in that situation where you cannot stand on your own if it goes bad. Do not. Do not. Now, for the men, educate them. What do I mean by educating them? Educate them on what it is to be a man. Not all this nonsense going on. Oh, I'm a man. I can have baby mamas everywhere and I'm seen as a hero. No, I think women should have baby fathers too and seen as a hero, because I mean, what the heck? No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious. If you're gonna, no, this is the truth. It's not. I'm not advising that, but if you're going to be hypocritical and treat the men as some trophy when they do that, that means you're still indirectly saying that the women are only good for one thing, which is childbearing and being at home. It's psychological, like it's the same thing. The moment the moment a man is afraid that, if I do anyhow and I treat my woman anyhow, she can freely leave, that shit will sit you straight. That will be like, I cannot try this. Even if you want to do something stupid, you'll be very careful. You'll respect her, because you know if she decides to stand on her own and move, she moves. Men respect women who are independent, whether you like it or not. Who can stand? Whether you like it or not, men will always respect them. So empower the women, educate the men, let them know who they are, their society, as like what their role is as a society. It's not about shouting and banging the door and saying, I'm a man, feed me. do this or do that. That's
Serve
not
me.
being a man. That is like some weak insecurity ego speaking, so fragile that you have to scream that I'm a man, that you have to subdue the other
enforce.
person to feel better. You can't subdue someone to feel better. That is stupidity. Real power is empowering others to feel better. That is the best kind of power. And that is why all the greatest men in the world, let's even start from home. Look at Davido self, empowering people around. That is power.
Real
He's not going
power.
around suppressing everybody. I am the best. No. Even though he might feel the need, because winners always want to win, he might feel the need. That feeling will not always be there. So men need to be re-educated, and the mothers, the African fathers have to make their sons feel responsible from day one that they are born. And that's it.
So, final question before I release you tonight. Looking at the cases we've had so far, and I know that the government isn't doing as much, but because I believe that by the grace of God, a lot of people are going to be speaking about this. What sort of punishment would you advise for people who have been caught? Especially, because I'm going to separate the two issues. The next one I'm going to have with you, we're going to be talking about the other girls who get into the bedroom, take off their clothes themselves, and then say, I did not give you consent later. That's a whole different issue. And we're going to handle that. But for this case where you have men abusing little children, raping young girls, people who cannot even speak for themselves, what sort of punishment do you think should be given to perpetrators of these acts?
Now, there are different degrees of rape. The same way there are different degrees of murder. There are different degrees of rape.
Okay.
And it depends on the age of the victim. If the victim is young, a child, from 0 to say 14, for instance, now, I think they should be locked up for life. Because for you to rape a child in diapers, it tells me that you are incapable of thinking as a person. You know when you're
become
playing
an animal.
You know when you're playing chess and every move you make, you have to think about it and know what the other person will play. Every human being has the ability to think and contemplate. If you're going to do that, it means you have thought, I will do it, I will get away with it, she will suffer, and I don't care. It means that you are unable to think as a person that this will damage. And the sad thing is that we have a lot of illiterates in Nigeria. We think the schools in Nigeria are so good. Our schools are fucked up.
I know.
Our schools are fucked
me?
up. Because the issue of biology should teach a person that you taking your penis into an undeveloped reproductive organ will not only shatter and probably cause hemorrhage, it will probably cause infertility and the end of their womb, meaning the end of an entire generation from this person.
Oh God.
So for someone to do that, they have to be taken to prison, be educated on their actions, and completely for life. If, for instance, they are ever going to be free, in America and some parts of the world, when you've been in prison for life for long and they notice that you've changed, like they have, counseling sessions every now and then, they can tell if this is a different person. Some people don't know their action. Some people don't know the extent of their actions sometimes, but that's not an excuse. Sadly, that's not an excuse, depending on the degree, because someone who is a child, even if you don't know what you're doing, you should see that this is a child and they're not even fully developed to even handle that equipment that you bring into the table. So for life, that is my opinion for life. Now, if it is a woman to a degree and depending on the situation, maybe they can be for a certain number of years and some like there could be some punishment, but still locked up. But you see the ones that started from 0 to when to a girl like that is 11, 12, 13 for life.
But the way
Sorry,
Nigeria is, you can be in the prison and tomorrow somebody just comes into power and releases you. So for me, I would rather castration. I don't want to give you that opportunity to change later because you have damaged a life that we may likely not get back. So for me, I would rather castration. If that alone would deter other people from trying it, you're going to lose their member. You just know that. So that life hasn't been working. We've had that law for a while now. And people are still going ahead because I go to prison.
I agree with castration. Like the ones who raped the girl the baby or whatever.
Yes,
Castrated is
yes.
needed for those kinds.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
those kinds. You know, I don't want to say black and white because life is a gradient. But what I would
Yeah,
say
it
is, depending on the degree of the crime of the rape, then the punishment will be in such a degree. If you decide, if they, like for instance, now a man rapes a child and damages her wombs and her internal organs, that's castration because you damage her inability to give
You
birth.
can't get it
Yours
back.
should be
Yes.
yours should be taken away. You know, so there are degrees to it. There are degrees, and if it's a proper woman that you raped and she needs, some women don't want you to be in prison. They want you to pay them the money. The money is more important because they can set
Are
their
you
life.
kidding me?
You know,
Hey.
I swear. No, I'm not. I was being funny there, but the point is, if she decides to settle out of court, like she decides, okay, instead of you just going to prison endlessly, pay me 15 million naira. That will help her life be better. If it's a woman, I'm
Okay.
not talking of a child here. I'm
Okay,
saying a
yes.
woman, someone who
Okay.
is mature.
Yeah.
So the laws should be more flexible. Castration
It
is
shouldn't be a
too,
blanket law.
yeah, it shouldn't be, no, castration is too easy. You can't
Okay.
castrate someone just like that. There's a lot, if the person is able to pay, let him pay through his nose and still go to prison for a short while. So when he
Okay.
comes out and it's in his record that this is a rapist and this is what they pay, everywhere he goes to look for a job, it will be in his record. Let it be that way. Let it be a stain for a while. Except for some reason he does something for the state and changes, which sometimes can be reversed, but that's rare. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, so would you also advise that, okay, see like what they do in America, where if you become a sexual offender, you are blacklisted. So you can't get certain types of job, you can't go to certain places, your name is all over the papers and all of that. Is it something we should be looking at doing here?
I believe in second chance. I believe so much in second chance. I don't believe that people stay the same forever. Some people actually do realize their problems or their, and sometimes these problems men have, as again, it's institutional, it's systematic. It goes back to the church, it goes back to their father, their mother. Sometimes they were being molested themselves, and sometimes it's anger, whatever it is. Some eventually change. There's something that they have an epiphany, something happens in them. Those ones, when they do change, I believe there should be some kind of second chance for them, which is difficult for the system to always know when the person changes. That is why prison first. Then when you're released,
We can start watching you.
we can start watching you, observing you, how you fit in society, and then after a while, we can now decide to know how to go about with your status. But honestly, I do believe in second chance. I don't believe that for all the crimes, for the ones that are kids, the ones that are those little kids that were raped for life, yes, there's no excuse, especially if you're a mature person, for life. No, but there are some other ones who are in between. It's not, if you look at the system, it's not the crime, it's not like it was so terrible. I think there should be some kind of second chances for them. You know, that's for me.
Change.
Yeah, because don't forget, if the reverse were the case for the woman, do you want her to suffer that long? You know, what if she does it and it was a crime she committed out of whatever psychological problem? That's why mental institutions are not so helpful in Nigeria. We do not have enough of them.
We don't have, yeah, we don't have.
We do, but they're not so functional, and a lot of them are not doing as their job. A lot of people are mad in this country. I'm talking about, I'm serious.
Are you telling me?
Institutionally mental. They need evaluation. A lot of people. So, yeah.
Yeah, so fantastic. This has been amazing. Wow. We have touched on a lot of things. You talked about there were some points that you talked about that I want to reiterate, which is we have to empower the women in order to get out of this and educate the men. And he also touched on the fact that when we're raising children, we're raising the boys and the girls, we're paying equal amount of attention to both of them. So you don't just say this is a girl, this one, we need to look at this one better than the boy. The boy will find his way. You also talked about the fact that sex is supposed to be beautiful and it's natural, and we should not ignore it. We should embrace it and ensure that we channel that sexual energy to productive activities. You touched on a lot of very strong points, and you also talked about the fact that men should learn how to dialogue. Am I saying exactly what you said? Can you remember?
Yeah.
Yes. Should learn how to dialogue, and there is no, addictions are actually very bad, and a lot of people need to look into themselves and why they do what they do. So it's been amazing having you. You have been